everybody. My name is Dr. Bliss. I'm the Director of Percussion Studies here at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and we're so glad you joined us for the UT Percussion Podcast, Senior Clinic Edition. We are going to be filming some small podcasts over the next couple of weeks here in November of 2012, as a lot of you students are getting ready to take the WTS, MTS, and ETSBOA senior clinic auditions, and we thought we'd pitch in and see if we could help out. So these podcasts will be performed by several of my students along with myself, and we'll be working together to try to give you some helpful hints and tips as you prepare for your auditions upcoming in the next several weeks and months. So please note that we don't think that our interpretation of these pieces is the only way to do these. So if you have gotten instruction otherwise, certainly listen to your teachers and all of those good things, but we do want to give you some feedback, especially for those of you students who are in more remote locations throughout the state of Tennessee and possibly don't have a private instructor available. We thought, why not use the internet to share some of the things that we do here at UT. So we hope you enjoy these. We'll be doing MTS BOA excerpts this week and then releasing the others very shortly after. You're always welcome to email me here at the university. My name, again, is Andy Bliss. My email is abliss@utk.edu, and you can find the UT Percussion Studio on Facebook if you search UT Percussion, and our Twitter handle is @UT Percussion. So best of luck to you in your audition, and we hope you take something enjoyable from this series of podcasts. Have a great day. Welcome back to the UT Percussion Podcast, the WTSBOA edition for senior clinic auditions. We are here with Logan Ball, and we are going to do the snare drum portion of the audition. If you're watching, you just heard Logan play the entire thing from top to bottom. And now we've turned the snares off just so we can demo some things and keep the balance of our voice versus the instrument at a little better level for you guys. So how's it going, Logan? Thanks a lot for being with us to record this today. What was the number one thing that you faced that was a problem when you were preparing the Etude?
Well, there were a few things. Number one, there are no stickings written in, which is both good and bad. Good because you can make your own judgment as far as what feels comfortable for you, which is what I did. For things like the first measure, I used this sticking. The flam with the right hand and the rough on the left hand.
Great. And so that seems kind of similar to what I think I would have done if I was playing this first bar. And then do you do a double right, it looks like, on the and of 3 so that you can start beat 4
with the right hand,
on the right hand, which is more comfortable for a lot of us. As he mentioned, there's a whole bunch of different ways that this could happen. I think the logic behind doing the drag on beat 3 on the left is that you play the and of 2 on the left hand, and then your right hand is already available to do that rough. If you practice your ornaments only a certain way, then you may play the first two beats as kind of a paradiddle, right, left, right, right, so that you had the left hand available to play the ornament. So it just depends on what you're most comfortable with. One of the things that I tell my students often is sort of find a way that you're most comfortable playing your ornaments, whether it's 3 or 4 stroke drags or flams, even as simple as flams, and then practice them that way so that as you work through different etudes like this, you kind of have a systematic approach that's similar every time that I think works. So that makes good sense. Good. And then what did you do with the rolls in this etude? Looks like you've come across them right away in bar 2.
Yeah. There's a roll in measure 2, there's rolls throughout. For example, in measure 3, I played the flam on the right hand and the drag on the left hand again there. And then I started that buzz roll with the left hand, and I use a triplet stick speed so that I could be on the right hand for the 5/8 measure at 24.
Good. So why don't we pause there and let's spend a little bit of time talking about roll bases. So why did you choose a roll bass? Of course, is the rhythm that you're playing underneath a buzz roll, right? When we play a buzz roll, we don't just move our hands as fast as we can, hopefully. That's the tendency when we're first starting, but as a result, may I borrow your sticks? We get a really harsh sound, and a lot of times the buzz will be kind of dampened because we're digging way into the head when we play the buzz roll that way. So why did you choose to play a triplet underneath that as opposed to, say, 8th notes or 16th notes?
Well, it's all related to the tempo.
Right.
So at 160, I chose to use a triplet because if I use an 8th note or something slower, you can hear the attack of each hand and it's not very connected. Likewise, if I chose a 16th note, it's too fast and then it's really crushed. So the in-between would be the triplet. And I felt that was a good speed for me. And since it's a quarter note on count 4, I started with the left hand, and I'm on the right hand at the 5/8, and
that sounds like a great approach. So these would be, of course, 8th note triplets that we're talking about, right in between the 8th note rhythmic speed and the 16th notes here in this etude. Now, where else did that come up in the etude for you?
Also at measure 29.
Yeah, line 4. This is line 4 of the etude. Good. So same rhythm there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So measure 29. Yep. To beat 2.
Yeah, that's actually kind of useful behind the scenes. You're not supposed to hear the triplet rhythm. We're supposed to hear a sustained continuity of sound on the buzz roll that, well, it doesn't connect things in this case because there's no tie. However, it's nice because at the end of that line we have a quarter note triplet, and if you're already thinking about the 8th note triplet, as we've discussed in a couple of the other podcasts, that 8th note triplet is the key to playing quarter note triplets really well. And so so I actually think that's kind of a nice little tool to make sure you're ready for the end of the etude there. Yep. So great, lots of dynamics, always really important. On snare drum, of course, we use playing zones on the drum very carefully to make sure that we get a nice full sound. You don't have to play really, really loud to get a nice full forte sound. However, it is good if you can get out to the edge of the drum and to help, assist with that piano dynamic. Different people have different takes on that. Some players will just stay in the center of the drum because they want to maintain the same sound, exact snare response and sound quality, and they'll just play as softly as they can. It's been my experience that I would say more players do use the drum head at some level. I didn't notice. Did you move to the edge on your piano playing?
Yeah, not all the way out to the edge because it does get a little thin, but I probably went halfway, especially at measure 26. With the crescendo triplet roll and then the decrescendo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, I've mentioned this on other podcasts, though you guys are so probably really focused on the WTSBOA excerpts, I'd encourage you to watch the versions we've recorded for MTSBOA and ETSBOA, because when I recorded the MTSBOA, I think it was, with Dan Ornowski on snare drum, we talked a little bit about the fact that the snares we need to make sure that they go in the same direction, in that no matter where we are playing on the drum head, that we play over the top of the snares on the bottom of the drum. You can see here those snares run that way, and that's coming away from my or Logan's belt buckle. So, and my telephone's ringing, but I guess they'll have to call back. So, we can play right away from our belt buckle, and that way we can follow the snares to the edge and to the center of the drum, and that way we still get that crisp snare sound no matter where we're at on the instrument. That really helps. If you were to spin this, say, 90 degrees, as you move to the edge, we would lose a lot of that sound quality for snares. So maybe that was our first listener calling for questions. So good. Any last comments or things that you think might be helpful for someone working on this?
Yeah, the stickings, just make sure that they're comfortable with you. The buzz rolls, I highly suggest a triplet pulse if possible. Mm-hmm. And dynamics are a big part of this excerpt. As far as contrast goes, there's a lot of parts where you have to go from piano to forte like that. For example, measure 24, you have 5/8 notes to get from piano to forte, and then later on, measure 30, the 4/4 measure, you go from forte to piano in 4/16 notes. So there's a lot of contrast, and it happens really quickly.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon, especially if you get into more advanced snare drumming etudes in the De La Cluse excerpts and things. This happens all the time, and that kind of juxtaposition of the loud versus soft dynamics is one of the ways that I think snare drumming can be really interesting to a listener, because we have to have some kind of contrast, or it can kind of barrel on and get kind of hard to listen to after a while. So we have to do a good job of that. So, and last thing I'll mention, similarly to the marimba section, we get to the end there and immediately the tempo goes back to quarter note equals 80. So we basically splice it back in half. And so practice setting that tempo internally as part of your music. Don't look at those two rests and go, okay, I'm done, because you're getting ready to change time signatures. It looks like castanets are in 3/4, and you have only 2 bars, but it's 4 bars of the tempo 160, right? So it's 2 bars at 80 beats per minute. You want to really begin counting internally, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that as you're getting ready to start your castanets in this sort of play through etude, you're keeping really good time and you're not coming in just wherever you want. Those rests are part of the piece, so you need to pay good attention to those. So. Yep. Thank you very much, Logan. Appreciate the help. Hopefully you guys took a thing or two out of this, and keep the calls coming. We'll be here all day. Thanks.